Okay. Those of you who don't know me, my name's Mary Ficalora. Others know me as a mom in the community. So what am I talking about? What is wrong with our world that I'm so convinced needs changing that I wrote this book? And what it has to do is the way money works. And why it's old stuff for me is, let me tell you a little about myself. I come from one of the first American globalizing families. My father was an IBM executive, and we spent our childhood, my childhood, in South America and Italy. So, especially in the mid-60s, we were in South America, and the conditions, the living conditions there were extreme wealth, that was us, and the extreme poverty, that was everybody else. And it was very traumatic for the kids in my family, and the answer was from my mother, and that was, well, that's why you need to be proud that you're an American, because our monetary system is set up in such a way that it enables everybody to realize everything they want to do in their life. It's equal. It's decentralized. There is no one central power dictating what's going to be created. We have it decentralized. So that was the mantra that kept us, yeah, we're American, made us very proud. You know, we don't have this kind of living environment in our nation because we're American. We're better. We're great. We're proud. And I was very, very proud to be an American. And then fast forward to the 70s when we moved back to the United States. By this time, my brothers are heading off to college, and we're having a very big financial crisis going on. And my brother decides to be an economics major. And he brought home the message that, guess what? The monetary system's not what you think it is. It hasn't been that way since 1913. It's centralized. And the way it became centralized was what's now called conspiracy theory, but it was a secret. It was done because the people of America knew about centralized banks, central banks, knew that as soon as you have a central bank, it puts the power of what's going to be invested in into the hands of a very few. And there would have been public outrage. At the time the Federal Reserve Act in 1913 was put in, if the public had known that that was truly what was happening, it wouldn't have ever happened. And the stories go on and on about the conspiracy and everything else. That's not the point of this talk. The point is, we have lived with this. The answer is, at that time in my family, from my father, pay attention to what you can control and have faith in the honor of our government and the forces that do control the investment, that they will maintain our standard of living. I mean, we have a great standard of living. Don't worry about it. Okay. This book is because that housing craziness that's just been happening, the bubbles, was a wake-up call for me, combined with the 2004 election. I don't have faith in what they're doing, and I think that we, the people, are the only ones that can make them do what they need to do. So what am I talking about? Again, let me move on. Am I a Republican or a Democrat? Neither one. I was raised Republican, and very, very devoted Republican. I guess you could say Goldwater Republican. And in the 70s, when I became aware of all this stuff, I stayed a Republican because I believed in this do-it-yourself stuff. We don't need a society taking care of us. Make your own business. It's your self-determination. I believe in that. But then when Reagan came in and started the Iran-Contra stuff and messing with South America, which is personal, and what he was doing down there, I said, no, I'm not a Republican. I'm going Democrat. Well, guess what? I've learned since now that Obama's in, he can't change it either because it's not about Republican or Democrat. Both Republicans and Democrats are central bankers. We're not supposed to be. And that's what this is about. Now, in the book, I don't approach it as a political, monetary, economic book. I approach it as a spiritual book because my area of understanding, from my own studies, not my college education. My college education is all communication, filming, and drama. This education was the outrage over just look to yourself and let the rest of the world take care of itself, and the Roman Catholic faith and the mysteries and how it's outside of our power. So I've spent many years studying spiritual issues. And in the 2004 election, right in that period of time when I was, okay, I got to put it into a book, I had some very dear friends who were, I can only say rabid, it makes me feel very choked up, in their religious support of George Bush. And I felt that they're missing something, because we're not, that's not American. We have a religion, a political religion, I found later after the book came out, that Abraham Lincoln named it our national political religion. And that is the reverence for the law that enables our freedoms and our liberties. And that's in our founding fathers' documents. So why am I calling this a religion? Why are my distributors selling this as a religious book? Because I base my entire argument in the book on some teachings I have found called the Tree of Life, or Kabbalah teachings. This, I believe, can't prove it because there's no proof where this stuff comes from, but I believe it's the root of all of our civilized religions. And if you go to the Bible, there's the Tree of Life. So at least judeo-christian, Kabbalah, that's where you're going to find it. I believe that's what Jesus Christ was basing his teachings on. Can I prove it? Have I met other seminarians and many priests who say, yeah, well, probably, but can you prove it? No. But why is it important here? Because it's about how you become a Messiah. It's about how you become a leader. Jesus was this prophesied Messiah. I believe he was the one of prophecy. But the surprise was, in this sphere of power, once you've reasoned to the consciousness that you get to on this tree, you then have a choice of leadership. Might makes right, or right makes might. And I believe we, the United States, our laws are right makes might. And after I've published and everything, again, I was in Washington, D.C. this July and found all this Lincoln stuff. I think Lincoln was reading the same stuff. Because he believed right makes might is who we are, not might makes right. Yes, there's a balance. Yes, you have to find that balance. And in the family, which I'm not going to talk a lot about, that is in the book, how it works in the family, it's again, the parents are the messiahs. And I know that word is a black cat, I call it, because it triggers so many conditioning thoughts. And what a black cat is, and I believe we're stuck with them in our laws and we're stuck with them in our religion, comes from a story I read in a book called Eat, Pray, and Love. It was a very popular book that just came out. And this woman was trying to find her place in the world and just got a divorce and took off. And she spent some time in Italy eating. She spent some time in India in an ashram. And that's where I get the black cat story, where she was told this story about faith and religion. And it was that hundreds of years ago in an ashram, the meditation hour was being disrupted every day by this black cat that would come in and play with all of the meditators and disrupt the relaxed ambiance, the needed om of the moment. And so the master dictated that tie the black cat up during meditation hour at a post out in the courtyard. Okay, worked. Years go by, the master dies. One morning, novitiate, or whatever you call these young guys in the ashram, goes out to tie up his cat. Cat is dead. We can't meditate. We can't meditate. What are we going to do? We've got to find a black cat. I now call the things in religion that differentiate religions, the things that we cling to in law that have nothing to do with the original vision, those are our black cats. They get in the way of being on the moment, paying attention to what really is supposed to be paid attention to.